Welcome to all of you who are listening my lecture today. Myself Dr. Neenu Chaudhary, Professor, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Shri Guru Ram Rai University, Dehradun. Today I will take a lecture on CPCS EA guidelines. I hope this lecture will be helpful for BPharm student, MPharm student and PharmD student. First of all, we will understand what is the CPCS EA. So, CPCS EA is a committee for the purpose of control and supervision of experiment on animals. It is a regulatory body in India and its main purpose is to oversee the use of animals is done in scientific research and experimentation. This CPCS EA committee is established under Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act in 1960 and the headquarters of CPCS EA is located in New Delhi, India. CPCS EA committee set the guidelines and regulation for the ethical treatment and use of animals in research, education and testing departments. Now understand the objective of CPCS EA. So the main objective of CPCS EA is the animals which are used for the experiment may suffer the minimum pain and suffering during the experiment. And the another objective of CPCSEA is development and use of alternate methods to reduce the necessary importance of animal experimentation. So now understand the objective of the CPCSEA is the animals which are used for the experiment may suffer the minimum pain due to the Prevention of Cruelty Act and the alternative and to develop the alternative to reduce the necessity of animal experimentation during the research and education purpose. In this slide we will read the functions of CPCSEA. Because CPCSEA is a regulatory committee, so the main focus of CPCSEA is to adhere to the ethical and scientific standards when experiments are carried out on the animals, so that animal may suffer the minimum pain during the experimentation. And another purpose of means another function of CPCS is to give the approval. Okay, so the researcher and institution who are conducting the experiment on the animals, they have to obtain a approval from the CPCSEA before conducting any experiment on the animals. So the another function of this committee is to do the inspection and monitoring where experiments are carried out on the animals. And if this committee find any type of compliance with the regulations and guidelines, this committee can take the corrective actions. Another function of CPCSEA is to provide the training and education to the researchers, institute and the persons who are involved in conducting the experiment on animals. So basically the main objective of this committee is to promote the awareness on the ethical consideration and best practice in the animal experimentation. Next is this committee always want to promote the alternatives if there is any type of alternative method is available. So it promote always the alternatives so that the minimum use of animals in the experiment are take place in the future. Another function of CPCS is it always provide guidelines for the transportation of the animals and their handling during the transportation so that the animal may suffer the minimum stress and discomfort during the transportation. Another is CPCSEA always provide the health monitoring guidelines so that when experiments are conducted on the animals, they may have no health issues. Another is CPCSEA always want that records are maintained by the organization during the animal procurement and it may include all the details of the animals, and this record are subjected to inspection by the CPCSEA inspectors to verify the compliance and regulation. So we can say that CPCSEA always plays significant emphasis on the ethical aspect of the animal procurement and refinement, and it always encourages the organization to actively use of alternative methods if possible, so that the minimum use of animals can be done in future. So the animals which are used for the experimentation may acquire the guidelines that are provided by the CPCSEA. And each consignment of animals which are used during the experiment should be inspected for the compliance with procurement, and these animals should be quarantined and stabilized according to the procedure that is appropriately mentioned in the CPCSEA guidelines. In this slide, we will understand the meaning of quarantine, stabilization and separation, why we do this. So the quarantine means the animals which come from the another place. Yeah, we can say that newly received animals, these are kept separate from the animals which are already in the laboratory. And first of all, their health checkup is done, so that we can find out the latest status of the animals which are procured. After the effective quarantine, why we want to do the effective quarantine, so that we want to minimize the chances of introduction of pathogen into the established colony. Next, the quarantine time in the lab is differ, that is depend upon the animals, means it may be the quarantine time may be from 1 week to 1 month, and the large animals always are allowed to keep up to 6 weeks. And in the large animals, it comes the category of the cat, dog, monkey, etc. During stabilization, the physiological, psychological and nutritional behavior of animal is stabilized before use for the experimentation. And how much duration of stabilization should be kept, it depends upon the duration of animal is transported, and it depends upon the species of animals which are used for the experiment. Next, another thing which are kept in the mind is about the physical separation of animals, and it is recommended to prevent the interspecies disease transmission, and also we can say that to eliminate the anxiety and possible physiological and behavioral changes during the interspecies conflict. Basically, we can say that the different species should be ideally be houses in the different rooms. Now we will discuss about the laboratory animal husbandry and management. Laboratory animal husbandry is a place where animals are kept before the experimentation. So we have to keep a few points in mind during the experimentation. First of all, animals who are observed for the sign of illness, injury and abnormal behavior, it should be noted by the laboratory attendant. And another thing is that if animals are suffering from unexpected death, sign of illness, it should be reported. And postmortem examination report should be timely delivered to the veterinary medical care. Another important thing is that if animals are exposed to infectious agent, then such type of animals should be intacted and isolated from the process from the other animals during the process of diagnosis, treatment and control. The food, the food and water are the basic need of the animals. So animals should be fed with palatable, non-contaminated and nutritionally adequate food and water. Water should be free from contamination. Food that is provided to the animal should such type of food should be provided to the animals that can give them normal growth, and they can maintain their normal body weight, reproduction and lactation in the adults. Next thing is that diet should be ideally free from the heavy metals such type of lead, arsenic, cadmium, nickel, etc. And it should be free from other toxin and contamination. The food which we are providing to the animals, it should have adequate nutritional value. Another thing is that area in which diet are processed or stored should be kept clean and enclosed to prevent it from the insecticides. Another important thing is watering device. We have the person who are involved in for the animals care. They should They should train the animals to drink the water from the automatic watering device. Bedding is an area where the animal take rest. So the bedding should be absorbent free from the toxic chemicals and other substances that can damage or injure the animal. Bedding should be removed and replaced periodically with the fresh materials or as necessary to keep the animal clean and dry. In general, we can say that bedding should be changed twice a week or whenever it was required. The next important thing, yeah, or we can say the essential activity in animal facility is the sanitization. So the animals where they are kept, their rooms, their storage spaces should be kept properly sanitized, and it may be sanitized through the detergent or disinfectant so as to keep them free from dirt, debris and harmful agent of contamination. Another thing is cages where the animals are kept. So the animal cages and other necessary equipment such as feeder, water devices, they should be washed and sanitized time to time to keep them clean and contamination free. Generally, these things can be achieved by washing with solid bottle rodent cages and accessories once or twice a week and cages ranked at least monthly. Another thing is water bottle cages, that is other thing than the rodent cages, should be washed at least every 2 weeks. And we should keep the large or extra cages at all the time so that the systematic cage washing should be scheduled and it can be maintained. The cages should be disinfected by raising the temperature of 82.2 degrees centigrade or higher than the period long enough to ensure the destruction of vegetative pathogen organisms. The personal hygiene play important role here. The person who are take care of animals, he should he should maintain the high standard of personal cleanliness. Facilities and supply for meeting this obligation should be provided, such as there should be shower, change of uniform, footwear, etc. Next is a commercial laundering service is advised here. Another thing is that use of disposable gloves, mask, head covers, coat, cover all and shoe cover is recommended for the person who are take care of animals. Person should not be permitted to eat, drink, smoke or apply cosmetics and perfume in animal rooms. And last is person should be provided a space to sit outside from the animal rooms or area once the work is finished. Next is the housing system where the animal are kept. It should be provided a space that is adequate and it permits the freedom of movement and normal posture adjustment. It should have the comfortable environment and there is easily available food and water to animals. We should provide the proper ventilation to the animals and the cage should have all biological needs of the animals. For example, maintenance of temperature, urination, defecation and reproduction. The cages where animals are kept should have the smooth and impervious surface that should not retain any type of dirt and it should have minimum number of ledges, angles and corner in which dirt or water can accumulate. Another thing is that the design of cage should be like that it should not disturb the animals. The cages, runs and pens must be kept in the good condition to prevent the animals from any type of injury and particularly if any type of damage happen to the cages, it should be eliminated as soon as possible. The waste should be removed regularly and frequently. All waste should be collected and disposed in a safe and sanitary manner. And most preferred method is incineration. Incinerators should be in compliance with all central, state or local public health and pollution control board regulations. The waste storage should be separated from the other storage facilities and it should be free from flies, cockroaches, rodent and other vermins. Cold storage area is necessary to prevent the decomposition of biological waste. Hazardous waste should be kept safe by disinfection, discontamination and other appropriate means before they are disposed of from the animal facility. Now the another thing is the location of animal facility to laboratories. So the animal house should be located in an isolated buildings that will be far from the animal habitation as possible, and animal house should not be exposed to dust, smoke, noise, wild rodent, insect and birds. However, the animal house should be in an area adjacent to laboratories, but it should be separated from the laboratory by using the barriers or such as entry locks, corridor or floors. Next is the space of animal facility. It should be well divided for various activities, and the animal house should occupy about 50 to 60% of total constructed area. The remaining 40% area should be utilized for the services such as store, washing, office and staff members, machine room, quarantine and corridors. It should be keep in mind that animals are very sensitive to environmental changes, sharp fluctuation in the temperature and humidity, light and sound. So these things should be keep in mind. Then the recommended space requirement for animal rooms for the different species are mentioned in the CPCA guidelines. A well-planned, properly maintained facility is an important element in good animal care, and it comes under the physical facilities. The housing facility should be compatible with the need of the species to be housed. The housing facility should be maintained in good repairs. Wall and floor should be constructed of durable materials, and the surface should be such type of material should be made up that can be easily cleaned and disinfected easily. Housing facility should be kept clean and tidy and operated to achieve maximum possible hygiene. To keep the animal in hygiene condition, we should be a pest control program to monitor and control the vermin. There should be adequate and appropriate storage area for food, bedding, and equipment. The building area which is used to make the animal house should be selected to facilitate efficient and hygienic operation of animal facility. The building material should be durable, moisture-proof, fire-resistant, and seamless material most desirable for interior surface including vermin and pest resistance. The corridor should be wide enough to facilitate the movement of personnel as well as the equipment, and it should be keep clean. The utilities such as water lines, drainage pipe, electricity connection should be preferably accessible through the service panel in corridor outside the animal house. The animal room doors should be rust free and should be from dirt free and vermin free. It should be fit properly within the frame and provided with an observable window through which we can see the animal without disturbing them. Door closures may also be provided. Rodent barrier can be provided in the doors of the small animal facilities. The floor should be either monolithic or epoxy smooth, moisture proof, non-absorbent, skid proof, resistant to wear acid, solvent and adverse effect of detergent or disinfectant.